Good morning, afternoon. Can you hear me?
Here we go. I'm on. Hello.
All right, I'm having a problem.
All right. Anybody else there? Nope.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Oops. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good.
My my headphones weren't working properly. The setting was wrong.
Hello.
But
So I think I'm going to be running the meeting because Zach doesn't have his laptop working.
okay.
And, we can't have him running it by a cell phone. Can't even get everybody on his screen. Yeah, it's hot. Hopefully the third won't be canceled like last year.
Why was it closed last year?
Oh, we had just torrentials right in the middle of the parade. It was lightning, thunder, heavy rain. I got stuck in a doorway for, I don't know, 45 minutes. And then it came again, and they decided to just shut the whole thing down, all the music, the fireworks, food vendors, everything. Looking ahead, it doesn't look like we would get the heavy rains until the later part of the day, but it could come during right when we're marching again.
Last night was fun.
Yeah, last night was,
Holy smoke.
yeah, that wind was pretty wild.
I was charging my car over at the police station and I left the house at 8:30 at night and the clouds were beyond ominous. I mean,
Yeah,
big black rolling clouds. I thought, oh my goodness. I got back home in time, but like it was scary. And
yeah,
lightning, I don't care for lightning when I'm outside.
yeah. I got home in time to protect my garden plants and got it all done. And just as I got it done, stepped inside, it let loose. But what was really scary is the winds up where I am. I could hear them cracking trees. So
Oh, wow.
they were fierce as, I'm estimating 50 to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that
I
can,
told my landlord this morning, we've got a big tree out in the front yard that's got some very dead branches on it that are going to damage something if they don't get trimmed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
scary.
Well, give another minute. I'm going to be running the meeting because Zach doesn't have a laptop. I'm not even sure if he's going to be here. I assume he is, but he only has his phone, and you can't run in one of these meetings on a phone. You can't even see everybody who's at it.
Could he use the computers at the library for this?
I think he might be. He's his problem is he's away from his laptop, and so I don't know what that means. Whether he's
Yeah.
back in the hospital or
Oh, wow.
not in town or what.
Okay.
But he emailed me yesterday asking if I could run the meeting, and I said, yeah, sure. I did one not that long ago.
Jim, I'll take the minutes again.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I'm going to go to the agenda is review. Oops. So if we don't get a quorum in another minute, I'm going to go right to the council report because there is some stuff that the council talked about in the last meeting. And
I put the agenda in the chat box.
yep, I saw that. Thank you. Okay, let me open up. Okay, here's Zach. So three of you.
Zach checking in.
Hello, Zach.
Hey, Jim.
So I'm ready to roll, Zach. So I'm going to start things.
Okay, you got it.
We only got three members, so I'm going to go right to a council report and tell you kind of what the council was kicking around about this. What we're talking about is the frustration of nothing coming forth. And it's basically because we just never have a quorum most of the times, or people are coming in late to be the quorum. But I mean, we dropped it from 9 to 7, which meant we only need 4. But now we're having trouble, we had it once since then where I think Martha, you had to be helped by Steve Whitaker to come in. And we had been going for a while. So we're not getting a quorum. Without a quorum, we can't do a thing because Carrie and I are just, liaisons. We're not members. We can't make motions. We can't vote. Same with Matt. And so nothing is coming out of this committee for the council. And there's talk about possibly mothballing it, putting it on hold, or what Carrie called me earlier, and we talked about another option, one that I favored way back when we were looking at all the committees and seeing there were too many of them, and how can we eliminate some? How can we merge some? And at that time, I was for merging this one with the housing group. Carrie wasn't, but she's changed her mind because she sees that it's not working. So, just a second. Somebody's calling me. It might be somebody to deal with this. Hold on.
Zach, you can talk, I'm sure.
It's just Steve. He can
Uh,
come to the meeting if he wants.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, when you're done. Sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
no, he can't get in apparently, but I'm not going to deal with that now. So, what we got to discuss is how do people feel about that? Because as long as there isn't a quorum, this committee is just wasting time, everybody's time.
We're
So
planning
go ahead, Zach.
We are planning to shift it to evening. My hopes are to get the quorum up. What I've heard from people is that they work during the day and they cannot come in at our current time. So I did come up with a bunch of evening times that I doodled out to folks. I think the committee is necessary. It's just that we got stuck with the quorum scenario. And I think that we had an item we tried to press into council last week only to be met by that frustration and confusion, in my opinion, which, frustrated me. So, we worked really hard on that situation, well, sort of hard on that situation with Beth Ann's encampment thing. When I tried to bring it in front of them, with all due respect, to be told, well, we asked for concrete steps. We said, well, this is a concrete. So I guess the decision would have to be, do you really want a committee or not? And are you willing to carry out the recommendations if we come up with any? Because, I was really confused last week. Also, I wasn't feeling well. So I don't know. There also appeared to be a communications glitch with the email. I don't know what happened, but I tried to provide background information to the encampment email that came from Beth Ann herself, only be told that no one got it. So it's a frustrating situation from here, but I think the committee could be useful if we're able to actually move stuff. I don't think it's a good idea to pair it up with housing. They're two different fish. And so that's how I would take it. And it has nothing to do with, my personal views of it. It's to do with the professional side of it. So I would, hope that if we could find that evening slot, we can get in there and people start to show up. We can actually move stuff. That's how I feel. Thank you.
Okay, Martha, go ahead.
Yeah, about the quorum, how many members do we actually have of the committee now? Not who turn up, but who are, the quorum is figured on the basis of 7 people. So
Right.
if we have only 6 members, it makes it more difficult, 6 people, it makes it more difficult. And also, consider that, so it's, by my figuring, we just have, you have Ally, Don, and Sophie still on the committee. So that would make 6, right?
That would make 6, yeah, because Nolan resigned and
So
but
if you don't have a full committee and the quorum is figured on the basis of a full committee, it's harder to get a quorum to
yeah,
begin with.
well, yeah, but we can't, with 3 of you here, we can't suddenly declare we have a quorum because we don't.
I know that. I'm just saying, if we're thinking about what to do about this situation with the quorum, we should recognize that we only have 6 people to draw from. And the quorum is figured on the basis of 7, not 6.
Right, right.
And so as far as I can tell, it's Dawn, Ally, and Sophie who are still on the committee who aren't here. And I think Sophie is, her problem is the time. I don't know about the other 2 people.
Yeah, Sophie
That
hasn't
kinda
been
gets
to
done
at
on it.
least the last 3 meetings. And Ally has rarely ever come since she's been appointed. And so, I mean, I'm not sure
So,
what to say. I'm going to go to Peter Zachary first.
Um, I hate to say it, but first of all, it's too late. If you take another bunch of time to try to get a quorum, by changing the time, it's going to be September. It's too late. And I hate to say it, but I do think that the committee dropped the ball. It's been made very clear by Councillor Brown, by Councillor Sheridan, by Councillor Gill, that they need written, concrete, relatively detailed recommendations. That has not been provided. I think you guys had the opportunity to do it, whether you had a quorum or not. Sorry, but that's the way I see it.
Thank you, Peter. Go ahead, Zach.
Well, in my view, it's never too late. I'm not gonna argue about that, but I'm just gonna say it's never too late. It's just a correction, and it does happen. Other committees have struggled as well. This isn't the first time. And I believe that we have given them information, even if it's now. We've suffered from the past as well. So there's just, if we could, I do believe, real quick, I do believe a change would be warranted in order to allow people to come. You don't ever say it's too late. It's not like we have a full-fledged thing going here where, you know, I just hate it when people ask it's too late. That doesn't float with me because there's been a lot of work in this committee. Thanks.
Did you want to speak again, Peter? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, all right. I see a quorum person has come, so we have a quorum now. Don, are you with us?
I am here.
Okay, let me catch you up quickly with what we're discussing. Again, we're having a lot of trouble getting a quorum, even when we reduced it to 7. And the council discussed it, talked it over and said that, they're getting frustrated about these quorum issues. And there's talk about shutting you down or putting you on hold for a while until we get our act together, or possibly merging you with the housing committee where there would be no quorum problem because they have a lot of members that show up. And I mean, it would have to be, if that's the case, it would have to be worked out by the council that you would be able be allotted a piece of time of their meeting to discuss just homelessness stuff, not just housing stuff and, well, we'll get to you when we can. I mean, so we do have a committee, a quorum today, which is a good sign, but you know, it's kind of like we wait. People always come in late. Somebody always comes in late. Sometimes we just don't have a quorum at all. Without a quorum, we can't move stuff forward. You can't make motions. We can't move stuff forward. And yeah, you can come in and talk about stuff, Zach, but that's not anything you're really moving forward because it's only one person talking. You don't have the weight of the committee behind you. And so we've got to figure this out. I mean, this is now, this is the problem.
One of the items on the agenda today was to shift to an evening slot. Do a doodle update first and see where we were. So I don't know if people are up to that. I do see, I believe what I read was Monday was most popular, from what I read.
Well,
But
let me ask the 4 members who are here. Will you be able to make a night meeting rather than a day meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At work.
Depends on what night it's on. I cannot do Thursdays.
well, as I said, it looked like Mondays were the most popular, what I could see.
What about
Not
you?
thrilled, but I could probably do it.
Okay.
I
What
could do
about
it.
you, Martha?
Yeah, I think I said Monday was okay.
I mean, I could do Mondays. I mean, the night I can't do it is Wednesdays, especially if there's a council meeting. So, I mean, we can, if what we got to do is hear, Zach, we got to hear from Ally and we got to hear from Sophie. What have they said?
I didn't get a chance to see them. I'll have to take a look. Let me see if I can look it up right now. Hang on.
Because if they can't do evenings, then we're stuck with the same, you know, we got only 4 that can, and it, you know, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Okay.
How few members could we have on a committee?
Well, right
7.
now 7, but if we reduced it to 5, the quorum would be 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, is if we had a smaller number, but I don't know if that would happen either. It seems like it'd be easier to hit the 3-person quorum, but I don't know whether we should say that, you know, if you miss 2 meetings or something, more than 2 meetings, that you need to talk about whether you want to stay or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's definitely, I think, a question for those that are not making the meetings because they're just putting pressure on the rest of us. I mean, you know, the staff, I get here, I'm on time when Carrie comes in. That's 3 of us that if you don't have a quorum, we're basically spinning our wheels and wasting our time. Go ahead, Peter.
I think you are wasting your time. Whether you have a quorum or not, who is going to write specific recommendations and send them to the city council enough in advance for them to read beforehand to seriously consider them? You've had proposals from Steve Whitaker. You've had proposals from the Peel Your Cold people. Where is the concrete proposal to forward to the city council? They're meeting next Wednesday. It's summer. They're not going to be meeting every 2 weeks. When are you going to get this to them?
Hey, Peter, excuse me. Sorry. We forwarded that. It was a little late, but we did forward because we wanted to push that proposal by Beth Ann Mayer and her people. So, I mean, we did do that. And we, you know, I made a mistake. That happens. I should have probably just done it myself, but I thought that since we had city representatives on this committee, that they would get that information. And so, I mean, we are doing it. And I mean, they're not, uh,
We've lost you, Zach.
Just for a second, I wanted to say, I don't know if any of the missing people
Acted
here
on.
have the same link that Stephen does, because Stephen tried to get into the meeting and he said
Yeah, I
that the
know.
link that he took said that there was already a meeting in progress. I'm just wondering if it's possible that Sophie or Ally might have gotten that link. No idea.
It would be in the email, and I don't know what else to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, the link was.
And you're gonna hear
emailed.
about it, so.
I went right into it. It was not a problem, so I'm not sure why others are having problems.
Because one of the links that was sent out to people was incorrect. I had no problem getting in because I went to the
People.
website and got it, but
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, that's where I always get it from. So that's, well, here, let me just say this. I think, we're going to have an agenda item like we do every meeting about homelessness. And I think obviously I'll be starting it off and saying we need to discuss what we're talking about now. That should be, I don't know if we're going to be able to bring anything. I mean, we can, if you vote on the Beth Ann Mayer thing, that, got 4 of you, it can be brought forward. So go ahead, Marty.
I just wanted to say that we made some recommendations last time. Apparently, they never got to the city council, but I've got the minutes here from last week. I can look and see. We also said we were going to talk to Evelyn about posting in Front Porch Forum or other places about membership, and that didn't happen either. So some of those things could be done, and it might improve our situation.
Okay, that's
I'll go to, I can't do both at once, so I'll go to the last month's minutes now and see what we said.
okay.
did you have a
Yeah.
quorum? Did you have a quorum?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
We did, Peter. We had to wait to get a quorum, and that's the other thing that's problematic is when we do get a quorum, somebody's always coming in late and we're kind of spinning our wheels until they get here.
Then if you had a quorum and if you voted to forward those as a recommendation, why is it that that city council members didn't get it?
I'm just looking to see what we did.
We'd also, I thought, voted on a recommendation to suggest that the city council add in an intermediate step between evicting someone and completely ignoring them. That rather than evicting anyone for any little piece of garbage, that they would give them an opportunity to fix that. I thought we had voted on that as a resolution. And
Yeah, I don't see a vote here. I do see that you recommended tolerance for small violations of city policy.
well, not even tolerance, but a chance to basically given a shot to correct the problem. But yeah,
And there was
so I thought
also
that had gone, and I guess it didn't.
there was also recommended that when people are asked to move, it not be on weekends, because it's difficult to find people and vehicles to help with moving.
Were there votes on that, Marty?
I thought there were, but I don't see it here. And I've got my notes. I can look back.
Yeah.
I
There are
I
there are
don't-
minutes. There are minutes posted on the website with the agenda,
Yes.
but it doesn't have any record of any formal votes.
No.
Yeah, some of the talk might have been before we had the 4th member show up, and so that it never got out of talk and never became a motion. It was, it was definitely a frustrating meeting for all of us as we were waiting. And in fact, there was at one point, there was as many staff here and council people here as there were members. I think it was 2-2.
But why didn't, whether there was a quorum or not, whether there was a vote or not, if something was forwarded, why did that not get to the city council?
It probably wasn't forwarded.
Okay, I will post the minutes on the
Alright.
chat now if it's possible. I don't know if I know how
Okay.
to do that, but you can see there was no, I don't see a record of any vote.
I
Okay.
definitely made a motion about giving people a chance to clean up small violations rather than moving them immediately. I remember making the motion. I don't know what happened with that. And I thought, and again, just my thought, I thought that Beth Ann's proposal has gone forward. And I have a question about that because I had thought, and I got the impression that others did, that we could send it in its present state and that there would be details to work out later. But at the council meeting, it sounded like they wanted all the details worked out before we submitted it. Do you know whether if we submit it as is, we would have an opportunity to resubmit it with changes if it was not accepted?
I think, if there is a vote, motion and a vote, then, and it's written up and sent to, to Evelyn or the city manager, then it can be, definitely talked about. But I don't think, somebody coming and saying, well, we haven't voted on this, but here's what we're thinking. It needs to be stronger than that. Or the council's just going to think it's coming from one or two people.
Don, to answer your question, the city councilors can make a motion of their own. Whatever you actually send to them and that comes from the committee, the question of how detailed it should be is not really a critical issue. I mean, it should be detailed enough that the city council, someone on the city council can say something like, I make a motion that we adopt this proposal with the details to be worked out between the Montpelier Coal people and the city manager.
Yeah, I thought that's what was happening, but I obviously
But that
I
didn't
didn't
happen.
track. Fine. Yep. Obviously, I didn't track that, nor did anyone else,
We
or it would have
know
happened.
this, Peter. We know.
Go ahead, Marty. Did you find something?
Yeah, I've got to post it now. I'm not sure I know how to do that, but I'm going to try. I don't,
I don't know if it'll let you post in there. Might have to be done from the city side.
I do know there was a lot of frustration on the council about what's going on. Adrian expressed it pretty plainly.
Very plainly.
Well, she never even, she said she never even saw anything about what was called the Ribellini proposal that Steve floated. She said she never even heard of it.
Yeah, I don't think that was forwarded to everybody either.
Nope.
At least at that
Well,
time.
it's disappointing because in a way I feel like we've had more momentum over the last few weeks than we have for a couple of years. Initially, I felt like the task force accomplished a lot. And then for the last year or year and a half, I really didn't have much faith that we were ever going to get anything done and had thought about leaving. But over the last couple of months with new people coming on, I felt like we had the potential to actually get something done. So it's kind of disappointing here.
We did,
I
Don.
still think we do have the potential. I still think we do have the potential. I think maybe we needed to realize that we need to be clear that these steps are all being carried out, and we need to be clear on who's going to do them and when they're going to do them. And apparently, we need more people watching that. But honestly, I feel like we have more potential now than we have for a couple of years.
Go ahead, Carrie.
So you've got a quorum right now. You've
Yep.
got a great opportunity to say specifically any recommendations that you do want to send to city council, whether or not they did or did not get voted on in the past. I would suggest that now's a great time to anything you want to vote on, do it now, and we'll make sure to record it and it will get to city council.
Okay. That's what I was gonna suggest to people. And I would like to throw the first motion on the table, if possible.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
I'd like to motion recommendation that the that the encampments planned by the cold weather folks, I guess that would be cold weather or Beth Ann Marin folks, be considered a recommendation. And I'm not quite sure about this other wording around if we need to say, like, we need to be allowed to, like Don said, proceed, but I want to move it. I really want to get it forward, Jim. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to say that.
Well, you can just say something like, more details will follow, or, as we work this out, but we want this motion to be put forward, and it's still a work in progress.
Who's chairing, Jim or?
I am.
Follow.
Go ahead, Matt.
I think one of the things that is different between this committee and say the housing committee that I'm on is that they're very proactive on creating memos and documents to give to the city council. And so it's not just a question of taking minutes or having it on the record, it's producing the documents to send to the city council from the committee. You're working on behalf of the city council.
Correct.
So I would just urge you to look beyond just the minutes and the voting to see who's responsible for making the memo to send to the city council.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dawn's got her hand up, Zach.
Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant about specificity. The other thing is that, I mean, it's been very frustrating for some of us, and I'm not talking about the current council. I think in the past it wasn't entirely clear that it would be beneficial to go through a multi-step official process, because whenever we brought up the concept of designating campgrounds or anything even remotely like that, we were shut down immediately. So this is a little bit new to us, and we do have some frustration because this has been going on for years, literally. That was before Kelly was here. Regarding Beth Ann's proposal, I had some concerns with some fairly major details, like wanted to possibly consider another site. I would love to see them pass the concept. I would love to see us get approval for having some designated campgrounds, especially if they have the people to staff them already. I am all for that. I would vote for it. I mean, I would assume that there might be some changes made first. But it wasn't clear to me until the last city council meeting that the impression I got there was that it had to be very detailed before we handed it in or whatever. And it sounds like we can just hand it in as a complete proposal, but make changes later. And the reason that's important to me is because I wasn't sure that all of the details were optimal. Anyway, I'm repeating myself.
Okay,
So I'm
thank
done
you.
with that.
Thank you, Dawn. Carrie, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say it's not necessary to provide a lot of detail. It's just, I think, necessary to have something that's concrete and clear. That's it. So it doesn't have to be super detailed. It doesn't have to be like a whole plan thought out. It can be really simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
It just needs to be very clear, and there needs to be a clear line of communication to get to the city council.
Is that memorandum it was a memorandum that was sent down by Beth Ann. It seemed very clear to me. I don't know if that's something we can go with, or if I have to do something else.
Can I just interrupt? I haven't seen any memorandum.
I haven't seen it either.
Sent it like twice, so I'll try again. I can
This
do
is
that.
from Beth Ann.
Yeah, this was from Beth. Go ahead.
That, do me a
Yes.
favor, when you do send out the memorandum, could you request that, like an RSVP thing, people confirm that they received it,
I
so
can
that we
try.
don't sit here thinking that they have it and they don't think that we sent it, just to
Yeah,
clear that
yeah,
up.
'cause
Thank you.
Like I sent it to the entire council after the meeting. That's how frustrated I was. So I can send it again. We'll go from there.
Carrie, did you get it from Zach after the meeting?
Not that I am aware of. If I did, I've missed it. I'm going to go Search again.
What's going
I look, I think what Carrie said a minute ago is really the case. You don't have to spell out every detail, but you have to have a written proposal that says, and my understanding is that the memorandum from Beth Ann is actually fairly detailed. But I think what you want to do is say, some of these details will probably need massaging. And I'm just going to give you a good example. You know darn well that Kelly, the city manager, is going to take this to the lawyers. And the lawyers are going to say, whoa, okay? So you need to anticipate that as one of the details that is going to have to be discussed. What is the city's position going to be on designating some areas that it is okay? How can it be handled in such a way that Kelly isn't going to feel and the city council isn't going to be persuaded, no, we can't do that because of the possibility of a lawsuit? So I'm just recommending that you just make it open-ended, but clear. We need managed campsites, details to be, along the lines of what is being proposed by Beth Ann and the Montpelier Cold Group, with details to be worked out with the city manager. She's got to work those details out. And anybody who's on this committee who wants to get in there, like Dawn, who would be a great person to participate in that, in refining it, would do so. But it's ultimately the city manager's responsibility to implement this.
Thank you, Peter. Go ahead, Carrie.
I did find that note that you sent, Zach, and I apologize for not having recognized it earlier. I am going to put in the chat what Beth Ann wrote to you, I think. That's just kind of outlines the basics of the proposal. And this is what she talked about when she came to the meeting.
Can everybody see it? I'm reading it right now. I remember us talking about this, but I don't necessarily remember a vote on it.
No.
Well, vote on it now.
Yes, there it is. There you go. Do you want, Zach, is that what you want your motion to be, to vote on what Carrie
That's
just?
correct. That's what I want.
Anybody second that?
I'll second it.
And
Okay.
Marty
can I?
seconded it.
Who made
I'm
the
writing this.
motion?
I'm writing this down. So could I get it stated again clearly? Because I'm not 100% sure what it is exactly.
Can I just, Jim, can I just enter? This is all reflected in the June 4th minutes. That was the meeting where I handed my phone to Marty to make your quorum. And this was all done on June 4th. So here we are almost a month later, recovering the same ground.
Okay, well, do you want to state a specific, Zach, do you want to state a specific, motion then now that you have that?
My specific motion is that this committee recommend it, and that we be allowed to work out the details as we go.
Okay.
Who would be allowed to work out the details, Zach?
Whoa, this isn't procedure. We have to follow procedure here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a vote. We're in a vote. We're not even in discussion. Did we get second? I'm sorry, I'm not the chair, but this isn't procedure.
We did get it
Don
seconded.
seconded, I think.
So
Or
did
Marty
We're
Marty.
in discussion.
Marty did.
Okay, thank you.
Let's discuss it then.
What is the text of the motion? What is the motion?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Not what it's about, but what does it say?
Is it in the chat? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
Make
And
it
who made it?
again,
Who made
Zach.
the motion?
Zach, make it again.
Encampment proposal outlined in the memorandum she has sent us, and that was talked about in this committee. And that we also be allowed to recognize that it'll take a little bit, may take some time to get the stuff together. If I'm doing it right, I'm not at 100%, but this is what I want to do. Because it's a very solid, this is a very solid motion to me as far as the memorandum. The proposal's solid. There might be some quirks, but it's the best one I've seen.
We could just say subject to any necessary revisions.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
So let me summarize the motion. The motion is to forward Beth Ann's proposal to the council, subject to possible revisions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, second on that.
I'll second
Don
it.
seconded it.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Peter, you want to start?
Jim, your restatement said forward. I think you need to make it stronger. The committee recommends that the
Yeah.
city council adopt this proposal with details to be worked out by the city manager. If you don't want to put the city manager in, at least say, we recommend. This is our recommendation, not you're just forwarding something.
That's my intent. Is to
Okay,
recommend.
I absolutely agree with what Peter said, except for the part about to be revised by the city manager. I think it should be left open who will revise it, because that allows people who have more direct contact with the situation to have input. So, and I don't think it's necessary to say, I would just say subject to revision as necessary. But you're right, it should be stronger.
But not, it's not revision, details to be worked out. Don, I'm fine with you
that's
not mentioning
fine.
city manager, but it's not revision. This is a skeleton. These are ideas. The details have to be worked out.
Okay.
And you guys need to phrase this in a way that the city council knows exactly what you are asking. You are recommending this thing, details to be worked out.
That would be my intention.
Great.
I've
Let's
got
do
it right.
Are you writing that down, Marty?
Yeah, but I still don't have a clear statement. This the committee recommends that the how do you want to say it there? I don't have it right. So
No, the
council
memo from
recommends.
Beth Ann.
Proposal. She calls
Yeah,
it a proposal.
I have that. I just don't know the next word. I
The
have.
proposal submitted by Beth Ann and Ken and Rick regarding
Okay.
camping in the city of Montpelier.
This is the second, Carrie.
Can I
Does
offer
it have a
something,
title?
Jim?
Does the proposal
go
have a title?
Go ahead, Carrie.
I'm in favor, short and clear. Does the proposal have, we recommend this proposal to the city council. Details to be worked out. Is that okay? But what do you
Can
want
I
to call it?
Go ahead, Carrie.
Jim recognized me, and I would like to finish what I was saying,
Yeah.
if there's time. Is that all right, Jim?
Yep, go.
So thanks to Steve, I did go and find the June 4th meeting minutes. And it is true that you did actually vote on basically the same thing you're talking about now. I put that part of the minutes in the chat. So if you want to say something more, if you want it to be stronger, then you can do that. But you have already passed a motion that this proposal be brought to city council for their consideration, with the details to be filled in later. And Jim and I will get that to the city council one way or another, although it would.
Gary,
the
I
question
guess-
about how to communicate with city council is still out there, but we can do that.
I guess, just real quick, I guess I thought we also added language about trying to make a strong statement to it.
Oh, yes, friendly
I
amendment to
feel-
send a matter of urgency
I
to
mean-
council, which we have communicated to them multiple times. I think they've gotten the message that the homelessness committee feels this is an emergency situation.
I think one of the problems, Carrie, is we never got it written and sent to us.
Right.
That's where
Right.
you probably failed, Zach. You just can't say it. You've got to forward a document that says it. Then it's forward it to the city manager, and then she forwards it to the entire council so they can read it before the meeting and not get it during the meeting.
Right.
So I think it, looking at it now, yeah, that's what I feel we should send forward. I mean, I see that we should make it a matter of urgency, but it just wasn't done proper. And so the rest of the council obviously didn't get it. Because
Jim, can I speak on this
yes,
briefly? So I think there's a superseding thing. If I recall correctly, they're putting out an RFP to have, or they're selecting a vendor to recondition the Dog River fields. So that particular site is probably not the best for this proposal. I think Beth Ann watered down the proposal to the minimum she thought the city would accept. And I recommended that we not settle for portalettes because there are places where full hygiene could be enabled, but Dog River should probably be out. And at the last meeting, Matt Chilasic mentioned that Home Farm might have some possibility. And there is water and sewer connections there. And there's the 1416 Main for water and sewer connections. So this thing could fall of its own weight if it's not designed around the right sites and with the right hygiene facilities. It could become an example of why this will never work, is what I fear. So I think it needs to be, and also many of the people who are unhoused don't get along that well and or fight and or are on legal prohibitions from being near each other. So you need more than one or two sites.
Well,
That's all.
I
Thank
think
you,
that
Steve.
didn't the proposal include a population limit? And I think we had also discussed for a bit the Two Rivers site, and the fact that it had been declared sensitive on the basis of an incident that happened there, which is unlikely to recur. Because I was kind of in favor of that site due to the location on the bus route. And I don't know if they'd go for it. But
I remember talking about that now, Don, about that, I did ask about the Dog River site, and I did not get a confirmation that it was going to be done this year. It is going to be done, but they were not sure it was going to be done this year. So it might be a temporary site this year. I didn't get a total answer from that, and maybe, that can be asked at the next council meeting. But I do agree with Steve. You got to have more than one site. You can't herd everybody together without having, policemen there probably. Go ahead, Peter.
Look, these are the kind of details that need to be worked out later. I agree with Steve's concerns. And in fact, Beth Ann herself says we are looking at, don't lose the opportunity here to put together a strong recommendation that this proposal, this tentative proposal from the Montpelier Cold group be approved by the city council with details to be worked out. You're not going to settle it here. And that's why I mentioned the city manager. But you don't have to put the city manager in. Details to be worked out. Please vote on this.
We are going to, Peter. We're just still discussing. Is there any more discussion on this?
I think, isn't it okay, I agree that we need to say details to be worked out. If they don't consider that to be a detail, but a main segment of the proposal, I think the wording, if indeed Beth Ann's proposal says we are looking at these sites, isn't that adequate to cover that?
Yes, yes.
My one other concern is that there might be similar issues with the Two Rivers site because that was flooded. But again, with the looking into these sites and the details to be decided later, I think we're covered on that.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Don. So let's vote on it. There's 4 of you here.
Could somebody restate the motion?
Um,
Marty, I think you were writing it down.
the committee recommends, see, I haven't seen the proposal, so I don't know what to call it. The committee recommends this proposal to the city council. It recommends that the proposal be brought to the city council for their consideration with the details to be worked out later.
Well, it's gotta have the what proposal, and that would be the proposal from Beth Ann and the Cold people.
Mhm.
That should be in there.
Okay, the proposal from Beth Ann and the cold weather.
Because it's it's a proposal.
Yeah.
And then, then it was voted on with, urgency to be added. So I think we just move forward with that. But it needs to be, somebody needs to kind of, put that proposal in a document and forward it to the city manager or Evelyn, one or the other. So it can be forwarded to the council tomorrow, or early next week before the meeting, but preferably it should be gotten to them by Friday, there's going to be nobody in there Friday, so you're going to have to shoot for Monday.
I can forward it, but I need the text of the proposal, which I do not have. So if someone will send me that, I can
Can
do
you
it.
go in the chat?
I can't move it from the chat to a document. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Would you like someone to read it to you?
No, I can see it, but if we're going to send it somewhere, we need the text on on an email or on a document or on something. Can't send it from the chat.
We do have the text in the June 4th minutes,
Okay.
which is when it passed.
I better look and see that I've got them.
So you don't need to pass it again.
Oh, okay. So we just need to send it. Is that?
Zach, do you have the proposal written down that you can email who's ever writing it up?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Do you think there's any way you could send it before the end of the day today?
Yeah,
That's what I would do. Send it today while they're still in the office, because tomorrow nobody's going to be in the office, or Friday. So if you got about an hour and a half, an hour to send it today. She can put it in the agenda. I mean, put it in the packet that this can be discussed when we go to our agenda, standing agenda item about homelessness. We don't have to add it to the agenda. We have a standing item that we can discuss it every week that I put in place. So doesn't matter what is sent to discuss, it's standing every week. So if you can get it to Kelly, she will put this in the packet so every counselor will see it. Then
okay.
Carrie and I can push this forward and see where it lands.
Okay.
Okay, so we've gotten that down. Let me take a look at what else is on the agenda
Did we
here.
vote? Did we vote on it?
Well, it
I
was
don't
voted
think we
last
did.
time,
Okay,
but it might not hurt to vote again if you want. Not gonna hurt. All in
Let's do
favor?
it.
aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so it's in. All right, so we know that's going to be forwarded hopefully this afternoon, and it'll be a major discussion in the item that's going to be on next week's agenda that's always there. So I would encourage whoever can come to the meeting to do it. Carrie and I will definitely be talking about it. And so let me move on to, has everybody read the minutes from the June 18th meeting? And if you have, can somebody make a motion to accept them and second it?
Make a
I
motion.
have
make-
not, but I believe my abstention would count as part of the quorum.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody want to make a motion to
I
accept?
make a motion that we accept the minutes of the June 18th meeting.
Second it, somebody?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on from that. Doodle poll update, Zach.
Yeah, I was trying to get over there and bounce back and forth, but the most popular day is on Monday. My proposal to committee would be that if I could try to reach out to these two folks who haven't answered us, and if they're okay with Monday, I could, we could go ahead and schedule a Monday time, I guess.
Are all four of you here okay with Monday?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm okay with Monday. Are you okay with Monday, Carrie? Okay, there it is, Zach. That's what talk to the other people and say that, Monday is the night and see what they say.
What
Thank
time?
you. I don't have that in front of me. It was like the 5:30 slot, I think,
5:30, okay.
somewhere in there.
Was that, I had a hard time hearing that. Was that 5:30?
I think it was 5 or 5:30. I don't remember the exact slot that was the most popular there, but there was like 5 people who said yes to that.
Well,
And I was trying to get in to the link, but we've been bouncing on agenda items this afternoon.
can 5:30 work for the four of you that are here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
all
for me too.
right. 5:30 Monday it is, Zach. You
Okay.
communicate to Sophie and the new person.
Annie.
Allie McGurk.
Allie, yes. You pass the information to those two and set up the next meeting for a Monday at 5:30.
Okay.
Okay, public comment. Anybody want to comment publicly on what's been going on so far? Public comment, Peter?
Yeah, now that you have gotten this one under your belt, I think you should look at some of the other components, especially the ones that Don has identified, which have to do with the existing the existing camping and what's been going on with clearing people out and what they've been doing with their stuff, and particularly people who have disabilities that really the situation that happened about a week ago was just appalling. So Dawn, I would just suggest that you write down your suggestions for this committee to forward regarding the way in which dealing with current camping is being carried out. That's number two. And then I do think you guys also should look at Steve's proposals about hygiene and make recommendations about hygiene. This is regardless. I mean, it's of course important for people who are unhoused, but it's also important for senior citizens and so forth. And I think in particular, it would really help. And I think the city council is ready to listen to thinking about ways in which the transit center could be used for a number of purposes, including homelessness. And so I don't just stop here. Take the next steps.
No, it wouldn't be a good idea to stop here. That's not the purpose of the committee.
Don, would you like to state those other things you talked about?
Regarding what's happening now?
Well, you talked about, maybe not on weekends, those type of things.
Well, yeah, if it should be ideally done so that people need to leave during the week because the buses aren't running on the weekend. My ride may not be running on Saturday, definitely is not running on Sunday. Gopher is either not available or not affordable. And even at the best of times, it's very difficult to move people's stuff. So yeah, having people needing to leave on the weekends is not okay. The other thing is, in the winter, if you're in the middle of a blizzard or something, not asking people to move during major weather events would also be nice because that's also not very possible. And it's pretty inhumane to expect people to pack up in the middle of a flood or a blizzard and set a new camping site.
Okay, Don, would you be willing to put that in a motion? And we'll get a second. And then would you be willing to write those things up and either get it to Zach quickly or get it to the city manager yourself?
I could send it to Zach, although Zach, are you able to do that from where you're at now?
Sorry, yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So I guess my motion would be that we recommend to the city the following change in the encampment removal policy, which is that it not occur such that people are required to break camp and move their stuff on the weekend or during an adverse weather event, because it's just not possible.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, that was very clear, Don. Is there any discussion of that? Peter?
Don, would it be possible to say something about people who are in wheelchairs or seriously disabled?
We could probably formulate something, but I would do it as a separate item
Okay,
because I think what we have here is simple, and I don't think that's as simple.
okay. Thanks.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. Are you still with us, Marty?
And I'm in the middle of a meeting right now. I could call back in about half an hour.
She's almost with us.
As soon as she's back, we'll vote on that. Okay, Marty, Don put forward a motion and it was seconded. Everybody who for it, say aye or raise your hands, actually.
Aye,
Okay,
Who seconded?
I did.
yeah, Lee did.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Recommend to the city to.
Yeah, that was the concept was initially came out of Zach and well, Zach and Osa and I were discussing this repeatedly. Zach may be the latest person to have vocalized it.
Okay, well, all right, so we got that going forward to the council too. So again, we need, you want to get that to them today as part of it. So there's two motions going forward. Let me see. Public comment.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the last couple of council meetings, there's been discussion about picnic tables and where to put them, but nothing's been done. Where is
Yep.
this?
Yep.
Where is it?
Where it is I did not understand until relatively recently that I was supposed to contact the city. I thought they were going to contact me, and in the week or the week plus that I've been aware of that, I have not had the time to email them. I did stop by City Hall twice and did not find anyone there, but there was absolutely no possibility of my going this week. I guess I'm supposed to go around with them to look at the sites. I
I
have
thought that had already
difficulty
been done.
visualizing it from the map.
Yeah.
No, it had not.
Okay.
There was a
I
map,
thought they
but
took a bunch of people out to look at sites to, for possible picnic tables and confirmed a couple that were doable.
no,
And
no.
then it just kind of died.
I've spoken with a number of people outside with varied results or varied opinions. But in turn, and Zach and I have looked at the map, and I've shown it to other people. But there are a lot of things you can't tell from the map.
Yeah.
So we really do need to look at the site. So I need to email them. I had preferred to talk to her in person, but she's probably going to be busy. But I will. What I was planning to do was email today or tomorrow and maybe suggest some times for next week. It's very hard to do that, but obviously it needs to be done. So, yeah, so that's where that is. I don't.
Thank you,
Let,
Don.
let me know if I can help because my time is fairly flexible now that
Okay,
the kids
thank
are
you.
out of school. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I mean,
Yeah.
we shouldn't expect miracles from doing this, but I think, it seemed to me it was the least we could do. And it might have the benefit of allowing some people to separate from others and have a safe place to sit that's not on the bike path interacting with the public.
Right.
It's not going to draw everyone by any means, but it might separate out the people who want to avoid trouble or whatever. So
One more thing. I remember somebody had a map, Matt, that showed the proposed places for picnic tables, but this was like 2 months ago.
I don't
That's
know
correct.
whether it was that long ago or not. I do know that looking at the map, I was not able to tell what the geographic features were, or I mean, I could tell generally where the spots were, but from that map, I was not able to tell exactly where they were. I did notice that most of the sites appeared to be on the edge of town, and that's a concern for me because I feel
Yeah.
like in order to make them attractive enough to actually get use, they either need to be located in a place where people are likely to use them, or they need to have some kind of draw other than just a picnic table that would make it worthwhile for people to lug their stuff all the way over there. So I think the ones that are further away from town are unlikely to be used. But since I don't know exactly where they all are, I would have to look at them.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, I think during the city council meeting, one of the people who spoke up suggested that, well, if you're going to have a picnic table, why not also have a tent, like a farmer's, something that covers the picnic table. I mean, I agree that we should get this picnic table thing done quickly. And I also agree that having them on the outskirts of town is really problematic. I don't think it's going to get the use. But I really think you guys need to be a little more aggressive on this. Don, you and I and
Exactly.
we worked on this 4 or 5 years ago to get a place where people could get in out of the rain.
Yeah.
And I think that let's start with picnic tables, but really that's really the least we can do. And for that reason, I really think you guys need to take seriously the city's the transit center. It's a complicated issue, but it's an issue that cuts across it includes things that aren't just about homelessness, that are about people. It's, for example, the cooling aspect or the warming aspect. If they close down that building when the transit people go away, where do those people go in those emergencies? Like everything, it involves staffing. There's complicated issues, but they're not insoluble. That building belongs to the city. I urge you to make a motion that the city council seriously study the use of the transit center more than during the open hours of being used for transit.
Can I speak on that briefly?
Yes,
Um,
you can.
Yeah, I spoke to Monica White about use of that, and of course the main use is transit. Tourists use it. People in the city use it. I'm not quite sure how it could be used as a homeless shelter. People who live in the apartments, I don't know whether they use it or not. They might use it for transit, but speaking to Monica, it was tricky. It's a transit center. It's not a gathering space. I can't imagine tourists coming out from out of town and coming into a transit center filled with homeless people.
Excuse me, I
It's,
didn't
actually-
suggest that it be,
sorry.
I did not suggest that it be a shelter. This is a complicated issue, there's no question about it. But that is a huge building. It is minimally used for transit. It is not used for transit on weekends at all. It is not used after 6 o'clock. It is not used before 8 o'clock. There are rooms in there that are hardly ever used. I'm talking about perhaps a city center in there that includes a welcome center, and that has some furniture so that people actually could sit down. And by the way, it is already used during hours by people who are homeless. But the problem is that the hours are limited. We're not talking, and you need to design it in such a way that it doesn't become like bus stations in other cities that we know about, but this is possible. And a perfect example of how possible it is the library. Go to our library and you will see a mix of people ranging all the way from people who are there doing Buddhist meditation to people who are homeless. This morning I was there and a homeless person walked in and actually she's new to town. She asked for a library card. I spoke with her. She was just blown away by the book. She said, "Oh, I really want to come here and just sit down and read." People who are homeless are not creatures. They are humans just like each of us. And if we could design something that is managed by people who know what they're doing, this could be a great a place. Right now, it is practically empty, much more than 50% of the time.
Go ahead, Don.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that there, as Peter said, it is actually a far more complicated issue than one might suppose. I see like three main. The picnic table proposal originated partly due to my frustration, as Peter well knows, in being able to secure a place for a small outside daytime shelter for people, because we both, along with other people, put in a ridiculous amount of time and did not get anywhere. But so my frustration was the sudden thought that, wait a minute, you can put a picnic table in a flood zone and we can't really put anything else there. So let's at least put a picnic table there. But I guess the other impetus for this was the growing number of complaints about people on the bike path and school children and other people having to interact with them. So my ulterior motive here was to try to lure people away from places where they would be forced to interact with the public and vice versa. Peter brought up another important point, and I did not know exactly how to address that and was kind of sidestepping it initially, which is a place to sit down and not get rained or snowed on, which is a lot more serious for someone who lives outside than it is for someone in a house, because they can't go home and change into dry clothes and they're going to be out in cold weather. So it's really essential that there be a place they can go to not get wet. So you have weather, you have a site away from direct public contact. And another a couple of other things are, it makes it much easier to find people in an emergency if there is our centralized gathering places where people will go. It makes it much easier for people who are new to get services, because that is the first place they will find. And from there, they will get directed to street outreach. So it's a multi-purpose thing. It's a picnic table only because honestly, it seemed like the only thing we could get away with, and it is much less expense for the city. I would love to see covered picnic tables with basic facilities. That would be wonderful. And I think if you can stick an umbrella on a cafe table, you ought to be able to put up a tarp or something that isn't too unsightly over a picnic table. But at least having some place for people to sit down where they're not immediately going to be complained about or confronted would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Matt?
So when we took the tour with the city staff to look at potential picnic table sites, all of the recommended sites or the places that we looked at would have been able to also have a portalet, and there was discussion about making shade structures. So that was part of the original discussion for where to locate the
Thank
picnic
you.
tables. I'm embarrassed. I've been working for the last day and a half with Kelly on an encampment MOU to run an encampment. And I probably should have talked about this when you were talking about the encampments. I don't know why I didn't, but I have one, and it's based on the idea that Beth Ann's proposal could be actualized. There are a lot of challenges for the city, as Peter mentioned. I can share that document with you, and I would love to get your feedback on the MOU when you have an opportunity. But the hope would be to bring it to City Council on Wednesday.
Yeah, I would love to see it. The other question is which doesn't need to be on paper, and it doesn't really matter in terms of how we approach this practically, but I don't know exactly which part of the homeless population we are going to reach. And if the goal is to reach the people who are most conspicuously and interactively in public, that's a really challenging thing. I mean, we also, the two groups of people that I see as being really emergent here are that group of people, some of whom are vulnerable, and also the people who are obviously and conspicuously medically vulnerable, like people in wheelchairs, people who have mobility issues that require them to be on or near a paved or a flat surface. So, I mean, obviously everything will depend on what your target audience is. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see the MOU. I could read it almost immediately.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, so I'm emailing the draft to Zach, and Zach, you can email it to the committee.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Zach,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Among the challenges will be that the city, even though it's on city property, there will need to be a zoning permit issued. And so there are technical kind of hoops that are going to have to be jumped through. And I just want to make sure everybody understands we can't just say, oh, okay, at the Home Farm Way, we're just going to start setting up tents. There are going to be rules about its management and how that works. And those rules are built into the city's Unified Development Code. So just be prepared for this to be a discussion. It's just not easy as flipping a switch. I think Kelly is very supportive of the idea. I'm supportive of the idea, but it's going to take a minute to get to where we can actually start putting tents in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, Matt. And I think that we all know everything about this is tricky. There is no easy answers here on anything. Did you want to say something more, Don? Then I'll go to Carrie.
Just the thing that there's no one size fits all solution. That's all. But we kind of know that already, I guess. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit more information I have about Home Farm Way and why that might not be something that we want to spend a lot of time pursuing. And I don't know the exact details, but to as part of the process of the city kind of taking on the ownership of that, there is an easement, a conservation easement attached to it that's agricultural in nature. And so we wouldn't be able to actually put tents on it. And that is like, there's some other hurdles, but that's really a big one that I'm not sure we would actually be able to get around. So we would probably be better off focusing on other spots that would be more practical.
Thank you.
Well, there's Gateway, but you know, Home Farm is about the only site I've ever heard mentioned that's actually on the bus line, which is a huge thing for people both with mobility issues and with jobs. So I don't know.
Okay, Peter.
Well, those are the details that I was saying need to be worked out. Look, Matt, can't you send this to everybody? You have to send it to Zach, was to send it to everybody?
Yeah.
Can't you send it to everybody? All right,
Oh.
Matt's clear. He wants to try to bring this up on next Wednesday. So he's going to send it. It's 3:15. You guys need to read it and get back to him with these kind of reactions. Talking about it now is a waste of time. You need to read it and get back to them.
Lee, did you want to say something?
I had a question that I since I'm new here, on the bike path, they have maybe 3 or 4 kiosks that are actually covered with tables for places to sit, trash cans and stuff. Why aren't they being used? I mean, you're talking about picnic tables when you already have something there.
Where are you talking about?
On the bike path,
Where on the bike path are these
by
kiosks?
down past the transit center. You can go from Julio's all the way down, and there's 3 or 4 kiosks on that route. Well, they used to be, unless somebody tore them down. They're wooden structures.
I don't think there's anything there now.
Well, they tore them
I'm
down
not
already?
aware of anything there.
There used to be, Lee, I told you about this when you brought this up months ago. The Girton structure was originally on the place on the bike path. That was the
Yeah.
only thing. Was gone 4 years ago. There are no
Wow.
kiosks.
Yeah,
Well, I stopped
structure,
walking that path because it was always so trashy.
that structure is at the
Stump dump.
stump dump.
Yeah, I think that one of the ideas where we could put something like that.
That was the structure that Don and I.
Peter, hold on. Don, go ahead. Hold on, Peter, a minute. Go ahead,
No,
Don.
what Peter said, and the only thing with the bike path, I mean, I'd be happy with it. I think that the problem with that was it caused people to gather, or it was accused of causing people to gather in places where the public was literally forced to walk within a couple feet of them, which doesn't work for either party, honestly. So ideally, it would be a place where people are not, bottlenecked right into walking up to a bunch of strangers. So the bike path is not a preferred spot, unfortunately.
And
But if
that's
anyone
like-
can think of any other place to put it, that would be great. And Peter can tell you what happened last time we tried to do this.
Yeah, Don and I and Paige Girton and Mary Mercy, a bunch of us worked on identifying sites which were not on the bike paths. The biggest obstacle was almost all of them were in the flood zone. But that doesn't mean that this is something still to be looked into. But I think whatever kiosks Lee was talking about, A, don't exist, and B, having them on the bike path, that was a major mistake. They took it off one place near the bike path and they put it in another place near the bike path. Major mistake.
Go ahead, Don.
I do also think that there's great value in having something that is not managed and supervised. I mean, obviously it needs to be kept relatively clean, but just not having people have to feel that they are physically confronting homeless people strangers who may be intoxicated is a huge thing. It's also a huge thing that people harass homeless people. So having a place that is not so directly close to the paths that other people frequently use. The other issue is that people who are outside often don't have any privacy. And a lot of the things that we are suggesting are great and are essential and are great. But people go from shelter to lunch to warming space to shelter. You can't even have a private conversation without some employee of some agency listening to you. And these are adults, So there are many different aspects to the value of having an unsupervised place or minimally supervised place that is not in the direct path of people who apparently hate homeless people. So anyway, that's
Go ahead,
take my
Matt.
hand down.
Thank you, Don. Go ahead, Matt, and then we'll go to you, Lee.
Thanks.
I was just wondering, the people who had worked on picnic tables in the past, Peter and Don, did you look at prefabricated sun structures rather than like the one that was at the stump dump was obviously it was built by Yestermorrow or somebody, I don't know, but I just put in the chat box a link to a thing on Amazon for $40. If we had 3 poles in the ground, we could just put up a fabric.
At some point, it
Cloth.
becomes a zoning issue. I'm hoping that that doesn't constitute a zoning issue. But I had talked about what if we put up a sturdy simple skeletal structure with 2x4s and then just canvassed over it. I thought that would be a really cheap
All
way
right.
of achieving the same effect, and I
Well,
think that became a zoning issue or a fire department issue or something. So
might be a fire issue.
Yeah, Matt, I think I think it's great that you're looking at those soft structures because I mean we were working under an emergency deadline trying to get something done by a certain time before winter hit, and so there was an attachment to the Girton structure, but I think some soft things that could be easily moved out of a flood zone would be terrific. The same thing goes, by the way, for the porta potties. You have to make sure that the porta potties can be moved quickly or abandoned. I mean, not abandoned, but can be moved quickly if you're in a flood zone. If you're not in a flood
Right.
zone, that's less of an issue. But also on the porta potties, it's really important, and Steve has emphasized this a lot of times, hygiene. There needs to be a way for people to clean themselves up as well.
Yes.
It needs to be more than just wipes. So so look, these are all the details. It's great that we're talking about it, but honestly, I think that if the city manager could get Dawn and Zach and people who are really out there and who work with people who are out there to talk about what do we need to do to solve this problem, that's the way to work out these details. And Matt, I hope you'll be talking to Meredith and Mike about figuring out ways that we can accelerate the approval process where there's a zoning issue so that these can be staff decisions and not have to involve the DRB and get more and more delays, because that is definitely, I'm nervous about that.
Thank you, Peter. Don?
Okay, a huge challenge here is the fact that when you live outside, most people don't understand what a physically and emotionally exhausting situation that is. And so to ask people some of whom are carrying all their possessions with them on their back or in a shopping cart, not all of them, many of whom have health issues. So to ask them to hike out of the way is problematic. It's unappealing. And you either have to find a good reason for them to go out of their way. The problem is that nobody wants them in town, even though they technically, I think, have a right to be there. Nobody wants them in town, but it seems kind of ridiculous to ask them to hike a great distance for virtually nothing. So location has always been one of the biggest issues we've faced, whether we're talking about a picnic table, a Girton parklet, or a shelter. Location is a huge thing, and whether it's managed or not, if it's managed, is the other huge thing. And part of the beauty of Beth Ann's proposal is that they seem to have addressed that already. And it sounds like the MOU that Matthew is speaking about, it doesn't give us a managing entity, but at least it gives us some guidelines.
There,
But I don't,
Don,
I guess my feeling is I don't know if that'll ever be resolved.
there will need to be a management component. There will need to be somebody who, by the city zoning ordinance, there needs to be a resident manager. And that can be a cycle of volunteers, perhaps. It's something that's one of the details, as Peter said, one of the details that needs to be worked out. But there will need to be somebody who is responsible for making sure that it's being taken care of and the people aren't leaving their trash all over the place and the trash cans are getting emptied and all the rest of those things, logistical details.
Okay, well, I can read the MOU and we can look at that.
Yeah.
But I guess my ridiculously belabored point there was that the issue of location is huge, and I don't know if either side of the location, I don't know if there's a solution for that. People are always going to be uncomfortable with it, and people are always going to be exhausted and cold. So it would be great if we could find a solution that was reasonable, that was not in anyone's face or putting anyone in perceived immediate danger, and yet people did not have to go too far to get to it. That's all.
Hey, Matt, managing a site is different than managing people. And I think obviously we need to have managing of the site to make sure it's clean and picked up and all that kind of stuff. I think what Don, one of the things that Don is saying is that the people who are out there don't want to be feeling that there's always somebody there watching them, telling them what to do, et cetera. And you know that, but I'm just saying, let's distinguish between those two things.
Yeah. And this will be a dialogue with the city about how to adhere to the rules in a way that makes them safe.
Okay, Lee, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, there's two previous statements that I just wanted to talk about. One was about somebody said that the kids going to and from school on the bike path had been harassed by homeless people. I didn't find that to be true. I contacted the school to see if there were any issues, and none of the people over there had heard anything about that. So I kind of question that. The other thing is that in my research into how to help the people who are unhoused, they have access to showers at the rec center, as far as I know. They also get laundry vouchers.
No, they do not.
Excuse me, don't interrupt me. Do not interrupt me. They also get laundry vouchers from Another Way. This is what I was told. You can tell those people they're liars, but I am not going to. Laundry vouchers, showers, water, food, medical, mental health counseling is also provided to them by Sunrise. So those are some of the things that I found in my research when I first joined that I thought was interesting.
Well, I can make some comments on that because I've been to Sunrise and actually toured everything they had. They used to do laundry, but it became too contaminated at times. So last I knew, they stopped that practice. They only had one shower there, and it had to be staffed by someone. And they never could be sure of what days they would have staff. So, and I said, well, when you have someone there, how do you get the word out? Well, they don't really have time. So, I mean, it sounded nice, but what I found that the best thing they had was they do have food there that you do not have to cook.
Yeah.
That you can get. But the laundry bit, they used to do that, but it became problematic.
Well, they were giving them laundry vouchers.
Yes, they were.
In Another Way, yeah.
Yeah,
Go and do the laundry.
they might have revived that. I don't know, but I know that it became problematic because a lot, they were bringing in clothes that might be contaminated.
There are no functional showers in the rec building.
Hold on,
Okay,
Peter.
If anybody is interested, what I'd like to say is all of these things are at times available. Some of them are convenient, some of them are not. Some of them may conflict with meal times. Some of them may be difficult to get transportation. Some of these things are available, some of them aren't. They're available to some people, they're not available to everyone. There are other places you can take showers. I've taken showers in many of these places. There are 2 places in Barry, but again, it's not guaranteed that they will be open during specific hours. It's a range of hours that are frequently available, and it's a single shower. One of them is by appointment and one of them isn't. I don't know if there's currently laundry available. I believe one of the laundromats has a time when you can do free laundry, but you need to have transportation, which is not available during the times that this occurs. So a lot of things that seem really simple to us become problematic without transportation and when you have conflicts with specific meal times or whatever.
Thank you. Let me sum up a couple things here. Seems that when I talked about, the council maybe not getting anything from this and mothballing it, it certainly has erupted a firestorm. And I think this has been a more talking meeting than I've seen for quite a while. And I do agree with you, Don, that we were turning things around, but we got hobbled by the quorum problem. And that was a problem for a lot of meetings. And I think it kind of somewhat derailed the momentum that we had going a little while back. But I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing at this meeting. We're going to have some stuff going forward. We'll have to see how the council deals with it, but I think it's been it's obviously been a very spirited discussion on a very hard topic. So I appreciate everybody being here and everything. Go ahead, Don.
2 things. I just need to take my hand down, but before I do, are we agreeable to a statement that says roughly, we propose that the council pursue an amendment to the encampment policy in regard to the eviction process, that it not be done on the weekends or during inclement weather? Is that what we passed, basically?
I'd say you made the motion and somebody want to second it? Let's vote on it now to be clear.
You did actually make that motion and second
done-
it and vote on it, and it was approved. So
Okay.
that's
So
all set.
Carrie, does that sound like what we voted on, basically?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll just type that up and send it to Zach then. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me take a look at the agenda. Committee check-in. I'm not sure what that was about, Zach.
I think we already did it, Jim. We're all set on that.
Okay, any updates? Don and Zach, we've been getting quite a few. Other than that, we're been here longer than we've probably ever met for quite a while.
Yeah, do we have a street outreach report or check-in, Zach?
Yeah, the only thing I'm, going to mention is we worked really well with that disability situation out at the Peace Park. But I have to say that I think, when I write letters to the city, I'm holding them accountable. It's not meant as an attack. And I kind of got this email, I get this thing from Kelly saying, well, I just have to say, the reality is that we've been saying this stuff for 6 years. So when we say we have issues with this, and when you bring in Brenda Siegel, which we did, and the reality is we were lucky in this situation. And what I was going to ask, which I will ask Kelly at some point, what she planned to do next time. We were lucky in this situation. Where will the police take this gentleman? From my understanding, this gentleman's in a safe spot. I don't want to regurgitate it, but I think we need to plan for it. And not have a situation where where we're saying they need to move right now. And we just don't have the capacity. Where are you going to put them? We don't have a special house. I don't have a lawn to put them on. I don't think it was fair to ask, one of our neighbors to put them on their lawn. So I just think we need to look at that while we're looking at the transit center. Because this is ridiculous. It isn't about the city, about a tax. It's about I'm holding them accountable. The other thing I want to close with, and we're going to go into this in the next meeting, I'm sure, is I've started hearing counselors again say, well, we're a small city, we can't afford everything. This is a scary step back to me because we were going somewhere with this. So I just want to be cautious. Otherwise, everything was pretty good out there, with the exception of the disability situation with that gentleman. We were lucky to work that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
I'd just like to second what Zach just said. I did get involved slightly in the disability situation because Brenda called me, asked me whether I'd be able to transport his belongings, and I did volunteer to have him put his tent on our property. However, his wheelchair is broken, and my property wouldn't have been usable for him. And so again, Dawn has said this again and again. Every case is different. Every person is different. Every need is different. And the city needs to develop some more flexible approaches. I do think that people got hot under the collar. I think Kelly said some things she probably wished she didn't say. But it was a tough situation, which might not have occurred if there were some guidelines about this kind of situation. If somebody can't move because their wheelchair is broken, this is not a time to just say, sorry, you got to move. Jim, I think one of the things for the city council to really think about is the bike path is being defined as a highly sensitive area, but how close to the bike path does that have to be? My understanding is this guy was not in a place that was all that close to the bike path, that he couldn't have been allowed to remain there. And then Kelly brought the health officer who said, oh, well, this place is, a health hazard. Now, if you're in a wheelchair that's broken, it might be kind of tough to keep yourself completely clean, but we need greater human flexibility. Thank you.
Just a quick question to you, Peter.
Yeah.
Interested in coming back?
Oh, to the committee?
Yes.
Maybe.
All right, thank you. Don, go ahead.
I wanted to say that the disability issue that has been spoken about, that's not the first time this has happened. And a couple things. One, it has been suggested that if there are people out there in wheelchairs, that we are not doing our job. But as Zach said, we don't have magic answers. We don't have a place to put them. We need permission from the city or lenience or accommodation or something. We don't have the power. Sometimes there is no good answer. A lot of work goes into this by many people, and we still don't have an easy answer. But no, this has come up before, and it will probably come up again. It would be nice to have something in the camping policy. It gets murky because honestly, a very high percentage of people out there have chronic medical conditions or moderately serious mobility issues. So you might get murky there, but honestly, it should be clear to most people that somebody in a wheelchair is not going to hike up the hill to Hubbard Park or not going to wheel themselves over to Berlin and start checking around the shrubberies for a place to go. And it's, the other thing is that the more people get moved around from one place to another, the less stable their lives become and the less likely they are to be able to meet the standards that we set for them. Which seems simple to us, but it's a little harder when you're exhausted and you don't know where you're going to be on any given night. But yeah, it keeps happening. We don't have an answer. It's happened before. It'll happen again. And it would be nice if there was an answer. Maybe that could go in the camping policy. Thou shalt not evict people from paved spaces if they have no ability to walk. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. But that's another thing that maybe in the future there will be an answer that could be included in their policy.
I agree with you, Don. I hope you show up at the meeting and speak up about these concerns because you are out there and the council needs to hear it from somebody that's out there. So thank you for all your work. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, in the service of getting things correctly here, I want to go back to the motion that says so that people are not required to move on weekends or in inclement weather. I have Don motioned and Lee seconded, but the beginning sentence is not clear. We recommend to the city, and then there's something else to follow something.
I would just say I don't know if we want to say to amend or I guess you could say to amend the eviction procedure included in the encampment policy to say that people should not be evicted during times they can't possibly move. Um, you know, on weekends or in inclement weather.
Okay.
Jim, can I speak to that
Sure,
briefly?
sure,
The
Steve.
I think that this committee of all committees should be absolutely clear that absent an ordinance, it is absolutely illegal what they are doing, displacing anyone off of public property. And if y'all don't understand that yet, you should ask for council to come and explain it to you. Because without an ordinance, everything they're doing is illegal. And we seem to be agreeing with it and pleading for adjustments to a policy. That policy was supposed to be revised 6-8 months ago, but it has no force of law. There is no eviction permission in that policy whatsoever under the city's charter. So until you get that clear, you can't really have a equal powerful discussion with any of these people.
Thank you. Peter?
Steve is correct. It is not, it is a civil rights violation. And I suggest you bring in Brenda Siegel at some point and ask her to talk about particularly issues related to disabilities and ADA, because not only is it a civil rights violation, it's a violation of ADA.
Well, the other thing about ADA is that there are something that most of the public seems unaware of. There are non-visible disabilities. And I'm betting that certainly the majority of people out there have a non-visible disability, whether it's a traumatic brain injury, a non-visible medical issue, or a mental health issue. I think most people do. And that's part of the reason we're having the same problems over and over again, is that people expect people to be able to function when they have no transportation, no stability, and they're dealing with a lot of issues that we can't see.
That's right.
Matt, go ahead.
Kelly has repeatedly asked Brenda Siegel for a meeting. First, the legislature was in session, and then she had a medical issue, which has kept her from having a meeting. But we're trying to meet with her to discuss these issues. Second, the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness produced a document, 19 points for helping communities understand the challenges for people living in encampments, which I shared with Kelly. I can share it with you, Zach, and you can share it around. And it includes, exactly as Don said, the additional trauma that people face, especially if they get repeatedly moved. So one of the big problems, and the court case, the Supreme Court ruled that communities have the right to remove encampments. I mean, it was decided. And so that doesn't mean moving people off the sidewalk, but it does mean that cities have the right, were granted the right, and it was deemed not cruel and unusual punishment by the Supreme Court in Oregon. And so it's an unfortunate ruling, but it does reflect the current administration's position on poor people, right? And I'm not saying we should adhere to that. I'm just saying that the reality is that there isn't a lot of legal protection, unfortunately.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Well, it's been a long meeting, longer than most of our meetings, but certainly it's certainly been one of the livelier meetings we have. I think the council meeting, for any of you can make it, is going to be wide open on this issue. And so I would encourage you all to come because time is, like Peter said, time is running short. I mean, we're in July now, and I think this next meeting is going to be critical that we impress upon the rest of the council the urgency of this matter. And the more of you that are there to speak about it and talk about what you've seen and everything, I think is just going to help. So at that, kind of at that, I'm going to say that we're going to call it a day. I hope to see everybody at the meeting, and I would like to wish everybody, if you come out to the 3rd, happy holiday on that, and happy holiday for the 4th. And let's go. I mean, my feeling is let's go on Wednesday to the council meeting and let's make some noise. And let's do something. I'm ready to do something personally, so let's see if we can't do something. So thank you all for attending. Thank you all for the lively contributions and everything. And let's call it a meeting. And so I'm going to propose that we adjourn. And I thank everybody. I think we really put in a lot of effort in this meeting, and it's made me feel more positive that maybe we can get something done. So thank
Jim,
you.
who's getting the motions to the city? Because I see that Zach said he couldn't do it.
I
No,
didn't
can
hear
do it.
that.
I thought he
Can
said
do
he
it.
could.
I
Yeah.
can. No,
Zach,
he said I could.
FYI, I've emailed you the statement about not moving people on weekends. If you could just reply to tell me that you got it when you get it, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
But in the chat, Zach says, can someone email my motion on the encampment?
No,
can't
I
copy
needed
it.
the motion, excuse me, I needed the motion emailed out of the chat because I couldn't copy it. So that's what I needed. I tried to do it from here. I couldn't do it. The chat motion or whatever. Something is written down. I just need it.
You mean the motion from Beth Ann?
Yes, the one that we voted on for Beth Ann.
You can't copy it right off the chat now?
I can try again.
Well, I've
I
got it
was
written. I
giving-
can send it to you.
Oh, you have it written?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can send it to me. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, it is in the chat though. I mean, the proposal from them, Beth Ann, and then there's, what we added on later on about the trying to get the friendly amendment about it urgency. So it's all right there in the chat.
Yeah, but when you close, Jim, when you close the meeting, that's going to go away and he can't get it out of the chat. Please.
So just Marty can send it over to me.
Okay. All
That'll
right.
work.
Any
Thank
more
you.
questions before we close it down?
Thank
Will
you,
somebody forward me Matt Jelasik's proposed policy, please?
Well, that's
yes.
that's
Yeah.
going
MOU.
it's
That
going to
proposed
Zach.
MOU.
Yeah, he's going to send it to Zach, and Zach will send it to the rest of us.
That's correct. And I'll send a copy to you.
Okay, do we know when that will happen? I mean, just not pressure, but just to
I'm going to try for today.
thank you
I-
very, very
I'm-
much.
I mailed it to Zach already. And I
Thank
mailed
you.
him the community guidance for encampment policies that I shared with Kelly that informed the MOU. I emailed those to Zach as well, so he can share those.
Great. Thank you.
So
Thank
are
you.
you set, Zach, with everything?
I'm set with everything.
All right. And did you get Dawn's thing?
Uh,
God,
hang on, I'll
yeah,
double-
check.
might as well just quickly double check that.
I'm not sure which of your emails it's in. It's in the one that popped up as most frequently used.
Okay, well, I'll check that one. Of course, it's not popping up in front of it.
I hope you're not supposed to be resting.
No, I'm good. Very good right now. Where's yesterday? Seeing if it's AOL or if it's the other guy. Man, that's not letting me see it. Oh, I have it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
I have it.
Okay. Looks like we're all set, everybody.
Good, thank you.
Have
Lovely,
a good
thank you.
holiday.
Take care, buddy.
All
Bye.
right.
Okay,
Thank you
thank you.
all.
Thanks, Steve, Lee, and everybody.